About 4 or 5 years ago, I moved houses and ended up in the one I'm in now because of something that was wrong with the house I lived in 2 years ago. Let me give you a little bit of background. I've lived in apartments almost all my life until the 7th grade, when we were finally able to rent a house and live in it. And one of the houses seemed a bit off. The house was old and had floral wallpaper. There were cobwebs and staircases that creaked when you walked on them. The top left room of the house had furniture marks on the walls and floor, with strange writing. "If you live here, be happy." This house had all sorts of red flags that we didn't address. Did I mention it had a creepy basement with one of those little string lights? It sucked. And I jokingly said, "This house looks like it could be haunted." Keep that in mind for later. We got the house and moved in from sunshine to moonlight. The first few months were pretty good. Nothing wrong until middle school started. I was having some issues in school that caused me to be really sick for 5 months, and our living conditions started to get weird. Things went missing, like my horror books and my black clothing. More marks appeared on the wall, and I was waking up with cuts and bruises in places I've never been injured. This was the biggest issue that we were having. I would hear voices and see things at night. My bed sheets would move when I was sleeping. We had friends living with us at the time that said that the shower turned on as if someone was having a full-on shower, but when she opened the door, there was no one there. It didn't help that it happened in the basement. The basement is where we had an extra room. We were more religious at the time, so we prayed that whatever was in our house would go away. Nothing really helped, and nothing was getting better. Believe what you want to believe, but I really think that there was something in that house. I mean, there are things still today I can't even explain. Things were getting worse, and it was like I was being targeted the most. I had the most damage, I was seeing stuff the most, and I could not go to sleep without hearing or seeing something in the hallway. One night, one of my brothers asked my mom, "Who was the tall man in the hallway?" "Honey, there's no one there." Damn, we needed to move or else we were gonna get chased by something. We moved out a few days before Halloween because we didn't know what was gonna happen that night. On our last day there, my dad handed the keys to our landlord, and the landlord said that he was impressed. "With what?" said my dad. "Not one of my residents have been able to stay as long as you guys. They usually leave within the first few months." Apparently, we lasted the longest out of however many people lived there before us. We lasted 11 months before we moved again, which really made us think, was there something in that house? Did they experience it too? 2 years went by and we drove by the old house to see a new family living there. But in about a year, or a little under a year, they leave. And now it sits empty and alone in a quiet neighborhood. Since then, no one has wanted to rent or buy the house. The house is dark, alone, abandoned. The only light that illuminates is the automatic porch light. When we moved, we didn't look back in sadness or in whimsy or whatever, but in fear and confusion. We called it the Yellow House.